What's going on, guys? Pegasus from the Wiseguys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you sub, make sure you hit the bell, guys. Cards dropped in the middle of the night, at least over here in the TCG, and these cards are very, very interesting, so I wanted to talk about them. There's a slew of new cards, and I could go on and on and on with them, but for this one, I just wanted to focus specifically on these cards because they already got DeviantArt to them, and shout out to Alan for all his work that he does. Starving Venom Predator Fusion Dragon specifically says once per turn when a card or effect is activated, as a quick effect, you contribute one monster with a predator counter on either field, and if you do, negate the activation. If this fusion monster card you control is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card, you can target one dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use this effect of Starving Venom Predator Fusion Dragon once per turn. I feel it's an obvious super poly. Because we're going into formats where Despia is going to be a thing, I definitely think this is going to be a relevant card. But that remains to be seen. Obviously, it's going to take messing around with it and seeing it. As far as this other new card, it's really, really fascinating as well. Predaplant Amberomeritis. I'm not even going to try with that one, but it takes two Predaplant fusion monsters, and it says if this card is fusion summoned, you can add one Predaplant monster or one Predaplant spell trap from your deck, graveyard, or face-up extra deck to your hand. Interesting. You can target one monster your opponent controls with a predator counter or one monster you control, and tribute it, and if you do, special summon one Predaplant monster from your deck. Very, very interesting card as well. These Predaplant cards are really fascinating, and it gets even more fascinating talking about this pendulum card, I guess. The scale effect says you can use cards in your pendulum zones as material to fusion summon. That's absolutely insane. But the monster effect says if this card is used as material for a fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or added to the extra deck face up, you can place one Predaplant counter on a number of monsters on the field up to the number of monsters you control, and if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or higher become level 1 as long as they have a predator counter. So obviously, guys, it's going along with the theme that a lot of the old cards like Drago's Tapalia, all those cards kind of had that game mechanic. They're continuing that, and the scales are very, very interesting and rather generic in my opinion. This is a scale 0, Bofolusi. I'm not trying with these names. During your main phase, you can fusion summon a dark fusion monster in the extra. That's a dope effect again in the pendulum scale, but the monster effect again says if this card is used as a material for a fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or added to the extra deck face up, you can add one face up dark pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. That's actually insane as well, and obviously it works with the other Predaplant cards as well with the pendulum stuff, but that literally is a wide open type of effect where you're going to have to go through the whole library yourself. The last Predaplant card, I believe, is the Predaplant buy list, and this card's bib list, however the hell you say, and this card says if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Predaplant monster from your deck to your hand, except himself, and if a monster with a predator counter is on the field, you can special summon this card from your graveyard but banish it when it leaves the field. Very interesting card as well, and I feel like slowly the Predaplant stuff is slowly creeping up and being really, really interesting. Another really, really interesting card, Psychic End Punisher, is a Synchro 11. And finally, maybe we have something that can replace Star Eater. This card is generic and it only takes one tuner and one non-tuner, which is beautiful because we don't get enough of those. They usually have some kind of long drawback. But this card says while your life points are equal to or lower than your opponent's, this Synchro Summon card is unaffected. Period. Once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points. I see what they did there. Then target one monster you control and one card your opponent controls and banish both of them. And at the start of the battle phase, you can make this card gain attack equal to the difference between your life points and your opponent's. That is a silly ass card that is really, really powerful. And it's really like Ancient Sacred Wyvern. We can come back to that in another video because I have a feeling that's going to slip into a lot of interesting decks. The Exorcister card is really, really interesting as well. It's really gaining popularity. And this card, I feel like, is going to slowly push it towards being actually relevant. This card is basically 2 rank 4 Exorcister monsters put together, or just a rank 8 in general. This says must be XYZ summoned with the above XYZ material. So it's very, very key that you can't use stuff like Utopia stuff to like cheat this card out on the field. You can't do it. Bottom line, it can banish a card that your opponent controls by detaching a card, and then much, much more. I feel like I'm going to do that in a video probably by the end of next week. I'm going to cover it even more in that one. Illegal Knight is one of the cards I wanted to talk about as well. And this card says during the main phase, if you control no monsters, or if you control a Brave token, it's a new Brave token card. It's going to come out after the first initial wave. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you control Brave token, quick effect, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls. Give control of this card to your opponent. If you do, return the targeted cards to the hand. Like a really big ass hand flying out of your hand if you're playing Brave token. Very, very powerful effect. Gonna be in the second wave of that. Gonna be really, really interesting. The punk stuff will also be covered by us at the end of next week, so you can look forward to all these combo videos because we're going to do them consecutively. But the punk stuff is slowly creeping towards being a strong rogue deck as well. And this card says you can reveal one other punk monster in your hand and special summon this card or the revealed monster from your hand. And if you do, send the other to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can target one punk monster in your grave, except a level 5 monster, and special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon this card, try whatever with the name, for the rest of the turn. Very, very powerful as well, but I really feel like that's the worst of the cards that I've seen so far. But this card, man, oh man, if you've ever played Pendulum, I know you've missed Electromite. We now have a new Electromite, and this card says if this card is link summoned to the extra monster zone, you can pay 1,200 life points and add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Silly. Also, for the rest of the turn, you cannot activate monster effects, and the effects of cards in your Pendulum zones are negated until you Pendulum summon. So as soon as you Pendulum summon, it's back on. That's absolutely stupid as well. The last little tagline as well, guys, allows Pendulum to be able to play going second, which is really, really nuts. As far as the Master Duel stuff, man, these screens look crisp. Maybe that's just the TV. Maybe it's just Master Duel and the TV. Maybe it's a 4K. I don't know. But these look damn good. I can't wait to play that because I'm really tired of Dueling Book. And I know a lot of us can't take Dueling Book. If you try to play it competitively, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this Master Duel stuff is going to be really, really interesting to see where Konami takes it. And much, much more stuff is coming in the near future, as well as content daily on Yu-Gi-Oh! And much, much more. Shout out to all the homies that wear the gear. Shout out to all the homies on the team. And shout out to the ladies for repping the gear as well. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'm out. YG baby, Pegasus out. Arrivederci. Make sure you get the cloth mats. They look great. Deuces.